Okay, so I'm trying something today. Um, I recently got Play-Doh. By recently, I mean literally yesterday. Um, I just remembered like Play-Doh existed yesterday. Like I woke up and remembered it existed, and I was like, I should buy some. So, ended up getting Play-Doh yesterday, and what's cool about Play-Doh is that I feel like it seems way less stressful to me than like actual clay because like pottery is really hard, or like ceramics, that's the word I'm trying to think of. Ceramics is really challenging for me. And I mean, I've only like, what's it called? See, I don't even know the names for things. Where you have the wheel and you like spin stuff on it. I've only done that once and I like barely did it. And it was like, again, just so challenging for me. But I think the concept of clay, I do love it. I love the versatility. I love the literal flexibility. I mean, like Play-Doh isn't amazing quality, but it felt very inner child to me. So yeah, I wanted to make something with clay today. I also have some foil in case I want to like make a shape, because obviously there's like not a ton of Play-Doh in each thing. But yeah, I just woke up not too long ago, and this is something I've been navigating for a very long time now, but as with all things, it's kind of a recurring thing that like will come in and out of my like focus, I guess, in and out of my conscious. Maybe that's not the right way of phrasing it, but if it's not, then it's okay. Let me first peel some of this, just in case it's super loud. Yeah, let me do that. We'll get scissors. Ooh. All right. Yeah, I actually used some of this yesterday with my friend, and I made this silly thing. So I guess we're gonna try. We'll just see what I create. Oh, but what I've been thinking about recently is just this. I don't know if this is something about like being in your 20s or like being someone who like sort of recently graduated college, but there's like this, it feels like time is running out. And now that I say that out loud, I'm like, I think actually like all age groups probably feel this. And it feels like there's this, like you're behind, right? Like there's this pressure that, oh, I need to go and get to that point where I have everything figured out. Like there's this rush that I experience, and it's really, or like this feeling like I need to rush that I experience. And it's just it's so strange because it's like, I'm sure it's tied to like capitalism, but like, yeah, honestly, that is probably what it's tied to. But just because you understand the source of something, like, doesn't necessarily mean you can like fix it, right? So I'm like, what can I actually do about this urge? Like, because I'm not running out of time. I mean, I can't control when my life will end, right? There's certain things out of my control. I mean, I don't know what could happen to me, blah blah blah, all that, but it's like, all that aside, like theoretically there's always time. As long as I'm still alive, as long as I still have one more day ahead of me, like there is time. And I just, it's such a strange impulse that I get, because it's like, why do I feel like I need to rush? Like why does it feel like life can't just be enjoyed and like slowed down, and that I can't just experience like lulls or like times where I'm not like moving, right? Because there's such an emphasis on like tangibly making moves in the world, and it's like, what if I just like sat today and like maybe meditated a little and like did my laundry and ate like my 3 meals today? Like, what if that's all I did? And I've just always felt this pressure of like, you need to be doing more. And I will say, like, recently I have been like doing more, like, I guess tangible things, like skating. Like, for me, tangible stuff that's like not internal work per se, even though like internal and external work can like definitely bleed into each other. But yeah, sorry this is really loud. Also, I don't know what else to do. Yeah, like going actually to the park and like skating, or like even making YouTube videos, like that's all stuff that like requires more than me just like sitting and like thinking, you know. But I don't know, I feel like we really just need to like emphasize the importance of those moments in life too. Like, especially if you're someone who wasn't really able to have a point in your life where you could just sit and think and be like, who the heck even am I? What do I even want? Like, rather than being like, go, 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 I need to accomplish all these things. I need to have this type of job. I need to have this, like, my career figured out. Like, it's really, really important to just be able to, like, sit and think and, like, know yourself. And Bell Hooks actually talked about this in, was it All About Love? It might have been All About Love. The only other book I read by her is The Will to Change. So it's either one of those, but it might have been The Will to Change, actually. But she was talking about jobs and unemployment, and why, like, unemployment is really important for people, even though, like, a lot of the times when people are unemployed, they feel, like, really stressed, where they're like, oh my god, like, I need to get a job ASAP. Like, obviously, like, of course they feel that pressure, hello, like, with the world we're living in. But, like, she was talking about how she said something like, and I'm really paraphrasing here because I haven't read the book. Oh, give me a sec. Maybe I could just flip it. Yeah. I haven't read the book in forever, so I can't remember exactly how she said it, but it was something along the lines of, imagine a world where, like, we were all, like, very deliberately given, like, unemployment time where we could just think and engage in self-discovery, and how, like, much better off we all would be. And it's because, like, when you're working, I know this isn't even, like, groundbreaking. I know at this point so many people are saying stuff like this, but, like, when you're working all the time, you just don't have time to critically think. You don't have time to, like, look around and be like, what? This world we're living in is actually, like, there's a lot wrong with it. Like, if you're working a lot, you just don't have time to, like, think about stuff like that. But unemployment can not only allow you to have, like, consciousness about, like, social issues and, like structural issues, inequalities, but it also allows you to have the space to just, like, get to know yourself and, like, hang out with yourself. I mean, should you use that time right? Because I do think phones, of course, are just such a big obstacle to that nowadays. If someone were to be unemployed for a long period of time, they could just go to their phone. So it's like there has to be this conscious effort to, like, not use your phone, which of course is a whole other thing. But it's like, sometimes we're going so fast towards a goal that, like, we don't even know if we actually want that goal, or if that's, like, what would actually bring us fulfillment. But we get so used to going in, like, go, go, go mode that we kind of, like, go with the flow of a life that we have sort of, like, co-created. But, like, like that was what college felt like for me. Like I was going towards this degree that, and I did end up changing my major, but like ultimately a lot of college was it for me. It would have been better off just spent like not spending money and like stressing about that and just like sitting and trying to figure out what I actually liked out of life and like understanding, like honestly just a lot of reparenting, I think, and a lot of inner child work, because after college I was like, I don't even like what I majored in also just like wasn't really like a major where there's like a clear job path. It was like very liberal arts adjacent. I mean, it was very liberal arts heavy actually, but it's like I just didn't know myself after I graduated, and after I graduated I had to spend time actually like knowing myself before I could figure out how to like proceed. But it was that like need to rush, it was that pressure that I felt like I had to keep going, and it's just such a disservice. Like it's such a disservice, and I'm of course like really blessed to have been able to go to college, but also I'm like, I kind of wish I didn't spend all that money when I could have just like sat with myself and figured stuff out. But you know, college did help me navigate learning who I was, but I feel like it's only really been in the past year or so that I've actually been able to like navigate like my identity and who I actually am outside of like what people tell me I am. And it wasn't even people like always being like, you're this, you're that, but I think like, and this happens starting when we're kids, you get used to being like praised for certain things, or if you're good at certain things, people will like really, it's part of conditioning where like if someone's like celebrating a certain part of you, you're like, I have to stick with this is who I am. Like if I'm good at science, I have to stick with science, or if I'm good at math, I have to stick with math. And or like if I'm good at art, I have to be the artist. And it's like we were always in flux, we were always changing, and of course this doesn't apply to like all people, but like for me personally, those kinds of things like stressed me out. And I know it was like well intentioned from like the adults in my life, but like you also like develop imposter syndrome, and then like if you have ADHD like me, like specifically with school, I would get like good grades when I was like before college, and so on paper it looked like I was a good student, but I was like not good at studying. I was just really good at taking tests, and it was just like the worst imposter syndrome, and it felt like the only thing I was good at was school, but then I wasn't actually like legitimately good at it. And then like I got to college, and like the way classes were structured changed, and I couldn't get away with like what I used to do. And it was like really, it was not a good time for me. It was really challenging. It was really like when that's what people were wait, how do I phrase this? When people say that's what your worth is, like your whole life, and then like you stop delivering in that aspect, you literally feel like you don't have worth. Or that's how I felt. It was just like, it was just horrible. So I made it through college, but it's like, you know, I got my college degree, but even after that, I was like, like it doesn't even feel real. It doesn't even feel like a real achievement, even though like of course it is. Like I worked really hard for that degree. I suffered a lot for that degree, but it's like it's just complicated. Damn. I guess that's the conclusion I've come to. But yeah, it's like a lot of my peers that graduated the same year as me, they ended up getting their jobs and like diving straight into the workplace. And it's just that go, go, go energy that like we're in a rush, we need to create our life now, we need to, and like I understand the practical parts of it, of like, oh, we need to begin creating like a savings account or whatever, but also it's like, I just think that's not a good, how do I say this? If you don't know yourself, diving straight into like a 9 to 5 or like a 40-hour work week, like obviously like there are a lot of people who just don't have a choice. I'm grateful that like somehow I'm able to kind of like, I was still able to like have the time to like kind of think about my life and like get back in therapy and just think about who I actually was. So of course that's like a huge privilege, but it's still like, it's just messed up that first of all, we don't all have that ability. We aren't all able to just sit and think about who we actually are. And I just hate this like constant pressure that we have to be moving so fast. It's like, some people really like moving at a fast pace, but I just have never been like that. I mean, maybe when I was really young, I can't even remember back then though, you know? And it's like, wow, there's really not a lot of Play-Doh in these. Yeah, what was I saying? I just don't like that people who want to move at a slower pace of life are like, I say don't want, I meant don't like that people who want to move at this slower pace are like made to feel like there's something wrong with them when you don't want to be working every second of the day and you don't get joy out of that. Because I do meet people that really like that grind. They like being busy. And it's like, that is not me. And I don't like that it's just made like the only avenue to have a slow life is to like, well, I guess either like grow up with a lot of money and like be rich to start with, or like work really, really hard and then eventually get to relax in like the last decade or two of your life. Like, what a horrible way to live. And it's so normalized. I do think like the younger generations are having more of a pushback of like, we're not doing all that. But at the same time, there's still people that are upholding the tradition of, you know, that being the way of living, just because like we do not exist in isolation, right? We're raised by people where this is the way they have set up their lives. Like the older generations absolutely influence the younger generations. And like, although there's a lot of unlearning happening, it's like a lot of us, due to many different types of circumstances, still feel the need to create that type of life. And I think like the source of that being like we want security absolutely makes sense. Like, life is genuinely like, you're able to enjoy it when you're not stressed about money. Like, money stress is no freaking joke, right? And yeah, I don't know. I'm like, what am I even trying to say here? I feel like everything I say, people probably mostly agree with, where it's like, the world is unfair. But it's like, that's not where I like to end things. Like, I do like to have hope, and I believe in the instances where we can like resist, even when it's in small ways. Like, I think something I really learned from my time, like, I don't even know actually what the like exact source of this is, so I guess scratch that. But something I really learned is that like I'm thinking Oh my god, maybe this could be a bug. A bug? Could it be a bug? I just have this little antenna that I love. Okay, wait, I'm making a bug. Like, oh god, how do I even phrase this? It's kind of similar to Bell Hook's concept of like a love ethic, but like when you believe in something, you don't just like express it in an academic setting, or you don't just express it like on Instagram or whatever. Like you don't just like only like live through, wow, this is really hard for me to say. You don't only live through it sometimes, like, or like live by it sometimes. Like when you believe in something, like it becomes your like life philosophy, and it like infiltrates all aspects of your existence. So like I guess the love ethic is a really great example, where you don't just like say like, oh, I believe in like this concept of radical love. Like you infuse it into everything you do, because it is how you're living. Like it is your life philosophy, which means even when it's not visible, even when you can't get validation from your peers or on the internet that like, oh, you're such a good person, that you're still doing it. And oh god, I'm like, why did I even bring this up now? How did this relate back to what I was saying? Oh, well, I mean, just being like anti-capitalist in general is not just like saying like oh, I hate capitalism, like when you're just like talking with other people. It's about like incorporating very small ways of resistance into your everyday life. So it's, wow, yeah, I can't even think of a good example right now, but I'll probably revisit this point in the future. So I guess what I was saying here is like, if you're like me and you believe that we deserve to live a slow-paced life, but you feel the pressures of the world, you feel like due to your circumstances you can't live that way right now, there's like small ways to be like, I think it's even as small as just having the awareness of like, yes, I'm doing this, but it shouldn't be this way, like, which can cause distress, but it also keeps that like, it keeps that fighting spirit alive in you, that spirit of like, because the opposite of that is just like resignation, where you kind of just give up. And I think giving up is like the worst, just like a huge disservice to yourself. And I don't blame people who give up on like, oh, this is just how the world is. Like I understand why people reach that conclusion, especially when they spend so much of their lives trying to like fight back against it. But I think like, even if that fighting instinct is just like a whisper within you and you can't really maintain it, you can't really do anything else besides have that acknowledgement of like, this isn't what life should be, like that is still enough. Like keeping it alive, like I think of like a flame, like a flame that's almost out, but it's still just barely there. And I think there's still so much power in that, rather than being like, there is no hope of living any life, like living a life differently from the one I've been told is possible. Because we, especially with like the younger generations and our interactions with like our parents' generations, like our parents have had to, for me at least, a lot of the adults I've met in my parents' generation, they like had to give up on their dreams. They had to give up on like living a life that is really meaningful and fulfilling in service of like prioritizing the paycheck above everything else. And I feel like there's so many factors that led to that, but they are obviously the people who raised us, so it's like there's not a lot of hope there. There's not a lot of, You know, it'd be actually really interesting to look at the astrology, which I'm sure people have already done, about like what condition their Jupiter is in, because Jupiter can be linked to like hope and optimism, and what condition their Saturn is, because it feels very Saturnian, and that could just be tied to like adulthood and the like responsibilities of growing up, and like this is what being an adult is. But it's like I really feel such a lack of hope when I talk with older generations, where it's not even just about the state of like the world at large. Well, I mean, I guess it is, but I feel like it really relates to like their personal lives and their own like how empowered they feel over their own lives and like what's possible. Where like being able to dream just feels like a capability that has been like squashed out of older generations. And I've been thinking, actually I'd love to do a video just like sharing my dreams like for the world, because that's actually that's like collective dreaming is really, really important. And like engaging in it, I guess, when you haven't before can feel kind of silly, but it's like we need to dream. I'm just like, it's just so important. Like dreaming is so important, and we're not given like the time to dream, or like, but collective dreaming specifically is what's super important, which is why I want to do it on here, because it's like that way other people can engage with it, other people can add on their own dreams, and together we can like co-create dreams together. Because like I was saying, a lot of what I'm saying right now is probably like, a lot of it is probably like widely agreed upon, especially by younger generations. But like when we try to think of like this world where these things wouldn't be the case, where things would be different, like sometimes like having that imagination, we just haven't exercised it in so long, and doing it with other people and being able to build off other people is actually like a really, really powerful thing, and I just haven't done it in a while. Yeah, I actually think I'd love to do that. And it definitely does tie to like just the type of life I want to live. I mean, like the type of world that I dream of is one where people can just exist and always have enough food, always have a place to live, and be able to focus on connection with other humans rather than just trying to like pay their rent and stuff. Like it's so normalized, but like there is another way, and I don't know the details of that, but it's like that dreamer in me has to believe that there's another way. I can't be out here thinking that there's no hope for anything. Like, I don't think I'll ever just stop saying how important having hope is and how important dreaming is. Like, it is. And yeah, I think I really am just circling back to like previous points I've made, but people let that part of themselves die. Although I don't think it ever like fully, gets to that point. I think it can always be revived, but it's like sometimes you just need some other people to do it with. And I mean, I think it's really cool. I've heard of these. I haven't been to ones where there's like in-person like dreaming, where I don't know if people just like sit in a circle and share their dreams, or if they create a little art piece where they're dreaming together. This is actually making me think of like art therapy right now, because I was in an art therapy group in college for one quarter, and we made this art piece at the end, like, and I swear it was like representing like, I swear it was like based on dreams, but now I can't remember any of it, which actually makes me really sad. I'm like, I wish there was a way I could like go back and see it. I don't even know how I would do that. But yeah, I am always gonna be of the philosophy, that's the right word, that we deserve to be living better than we're living right now. We deserve to not stress about money. We deserve to like let's say you love like matchas, right? You deserve to get a matcha every day and not be worried about paying rent. It's stuff like that, and people are doing that when they have like jobs that pay a certain amount, but there's just a lot of barriers to having like jobs like that pay that much, where sometimes it like socioeconomic barriers is like a huge one, like getting a college degree is a huge one, but on top of that, it's like that type of job is just not fulfilling for a lot of people. And I think, yeah, a lot of people just get used to like this, there's just this acceptance that we're not supposed to be fulfilled in life, that like jobs are a means to be able to get that matcha, right? Like it's called like working to live, or maybe it's the opposite, but it's like we separate our work from like who we are, and that is so unnourishing. Like that is not vitalizing. And like literally, I just don't care if it's normalized. I don't care if we've been told our whole lives that that's what work is supposed to be, that we're not supposed to get joy from the work we do. Like I don't believe in that. And like I think me not believing in that like can lead to people calling me delusional, which I've like talked about before. And it's like, I think a healthy level of delusion is actually needed to like make your dreams into a reality. Like, isn't that literally what manifestation is? Like, I've definitely talked about delusion before already, but like delusion does not have to be this like super bad, super negative thing. Like it's just another way of saying dreaming to me. Like you do have to balance like your dreams with like in-person action, but like just a little bit of delusion I feel like I'm here for and I support. Again, mixed with other things, but like I think we need a little bit of delusion. Okay, so I think I'm gonna end this video here, even though I didn't like finish a project, but also I'm over that idea of like we need to finish every project we start, because you know what, I don't operate like that. So here I made a star and then I was making a bug with glasses and then I just stopped. So what even is this? I don't know. But shout out Play-Doh. See, I feel like Play-Doh makes me like less serious, where I'm like, I don't need to make like, see, I don't even know any famous sculptures. Like, I can even use the Play-Doh box. I do not need to make this dinosaur on a skateboard. No. Let me actually like show you closer up what I made yesterday, because it's like, whatever, it was fun. I'm just playing with like colorful clay. Although I don't, does Play-Doh dry? I feel like it has to dry, because I'm like, how do I even like hang this up? But yeah, isn't it so abstract? It's kind of Squidward vibes to me with the nose. But yeah, like so fun, so funky. I didn't end up putting clay on whatever this is, but it was fun to make. And then this, but I still have so much clay, so, or Play-Doh. Does Play-Doh even count as clay? Anyway, I guess maybe I'll make more Play-Doh things in future videos, maybe. But that is all for today. Thank you for joining. You are a star.